So, hello my Gunrunners, welcome back to AYYKAYY Reacts. For this video, I'm gonna check out something kind of new, as one of the subscribers of the channel recommended me the channel Casual Geographic. Now, I have never actually seen anything from this channel, and it was requested a while ago. I forgot the shout out by the channel subscriber, some who call me Tim, and as soon as I checked out the channel, this video stood out to me just because of the title. I was sold on it immediately. Why I'd throw the cactus before I go in the ocean, which although I believe there are a number of phobias related to deep waters, something I didn't have, but some games like Subnautica did instill some of it to me, but I'm still pretty fine. I actually have a bit of an experience working on trading ships, cargo ships, also wanted to join the Navy, but that didn't happen. But just by the relation of me being an interpreter, I am somewhat familiar with the aquatic wildlife of Iran, and the fact that I saw some of them, of course, as I worked in the region. But before we start, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, share all of this stuff to the original creator of this video. All the links are gonna be down in the description and the video link in the top right corner right about now. Without further ado, let's get started and start.
This is probably the most terrifying thing you'll ever see in the ocean.
Let's see. A squid.
That thing is actually a big fin squid and it's believed to grow up to 26 feet long.
Oh
Scientists
my.
believe they hunt by dragging those freakish arms across the ocean floor, snatching up anything unlucky enough to accidentally brush up against it. But by far the scariest thing about this hell squid, we know almost nothing about it. We don't know how they mate, how they live. All we know for sure is that you can find them at the very bottom of the ocean at depths of up to 15,000
Oh god, that's very deep.
Half the height of Mount Everest. Here's the
Yeah.
part that personally freaks me out. Every big fin ever caught was a juvenile, and since no adults have ever been captured, it's possible they can be even bigger than we thought.
Oh.
This sea slender man's arms are covered in tiny suckers, and once it grabs something, there aren't a lot of things strong enough to break free. Those arms can be over 90% of their total body length, and they hold it at a 90-degree angle, which makes this violation against nature look like it's T-posing. As technology grows,
it
you might have
does.
a chance to learn more about them, which
Why?
isn't a good thing. They need to stay in hell. Whale facts, but they slowly
Facts,
get more and more
facts.
disturbing. Blue whales can produce 400 gallons of baby batter, but only 10% of it makes it to the female, meaning 360 gallons get dumped back out. In case you're wondering, that's 8.5 bathtubs of whale maker. Gray whales will go 3-player with 2 males and a female. While the first male is getting his rocks off, the second wing whale will swim underneath the female and help hold her in place for a process that can last up to an hour. And friendly reminder, almost every sea monster.
Okay, these are going just so fast, and this freeze frame is kind of, we'll get to that. But I did not know about the 3-player co-op, that is their mating ritual. And apparently these facts are only getting worse, so let's continue. And the current fact does seem to be believable considering the actual shape, so let's keep going.
Story ever told was really about a whale's penis, and I will never let y'all forget it. Sperm whales are so
Thank
loud
you.
that their sound can vibrate you to death by either causing your lungs to collapse or an air bubble to form in your brain, which would instantly take you off the senses.
Oh yeah,
Blue whales are big,
I've
but
heard
not a lot
about
of people
this one.
understand how big. You can hear a blue whale's heartbeat from a little more than 2 miles away. They can swallow almost 500,000 calories at once. Allegedly, a whale's fart bubble can
And they
enclose a
feed
full-grown
off
horse.
of the smallest
And because I am
things in
who
the
I am, I
ocean.
have to tell you that the largest blue whale penis was about 16 feet long and weighed anywhere from 700 to 900 pounds. Blue whales don't
Compensating
spray
or
water out of the
something?
blowholes the way you see in movies. It's actually warm air being forced out of the lungs. It's basically its breath. It's one of the most unholy smells that can ever assault your nose. Like burning rubber in a
Really?
fish cemetery. Because of that video, there's now people that believe the ocean is salty because of whale sperm. And I'm not gonna lie, I wish it was true because of the look on people's faces when I tell them this is free therapy, but it isn't. Most of the ocean's salt comes from rocks on land because when acidic rain hits the rocks, it erodes them and causes them to release salt. The salt gets carried
Makes
down
sense,
streams to rivers
yeah.
where it eventually reaches the ocean. The reason the ocean is so salty is because this has been happening for millions on
Yeah,
billions
it's
of
the
years.
cycle,
Some of the
yeah.
salt also comes from hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean, but most of the time when you taste seawater, the salt came from a rock, not a whale that already has. So yeah, you don't have to worry about salty seawater. Besides, you should probably be more concerned with the fact that your perfume used to be made from whale vomit.
Yeah,
You know, fish you should be most afraid of isn't the shark. It's the stonefish because it can deliver venom powerful enough to cause crippling pain and toxic enough to activate your life insurance in less than 2 hours.
That actually
This
looks
fish is
like a
armed with venom
stone.
called verrucotoxin, and as a neurotoxin, it shuts your body down from the inside. If you got
Why?
stung, you would first feel incapacitating pain, swelling, and eventually numbness. But
Why
no
did it
worries,
need that?
It gets worse. It always gets worse. If you don't get
Usually
medical
they do,
attention
yeah.
fast enough, the poison would destroy tissues in the body, cause uncontrollable twitching and shaking, and eventually paralysis, meaning it would get harder and harder to breathe until you eventually black out. Victims describe the pain as getting continuously hit with a sledgehammer all over the body, and even if you survive, you could still walk away with permanent
That's gonna
nerve
be
damage and
very
muscle
hard
atrophy.
to go
But
by.
there's 2 big reasons why this Satan guppy might be the most dangerous fish on Earth. One is this picture. Because the stonefish looks like A stone.
Four of them in this picture?
When you do, those spines would get shoved up your foot, and the harder you step, the more poison gets pumped into you. And number two, they can survive outside of water for up to 24 hours, meaning they don't have to be underwater to put you underground. Because Australia is the only place where mistaking a fish for a stone can get you to death penalty.
Oh yeah, it's Australia. Now it makes
sense. It's one of the most venomous things on the planet.
Should have been guessed.
That's because the cone snail can shoot you with a harpoon at 400 miles per hour. That would be like getting struck by 14
Oh, I've seen this one. Yeah, yeah,
one of the
yeah.
fastest animals on the planet, being able to hit you almost as fast as you can blink. That's not the only thing fast about them, because this murder slug was nicknamed cigarette snail because according to urban legend, if you got hit by one, you had enough time for a puff puff pass before you puff puff pass away. If you got stung, you would feel extreme pain, swelling, numbness, and vomiting. But don't worry, it gets worse. It would escalate to muscle paralysis, double vision, and difficulty breathing. And once you get to that point, you can go ahead and start printing out shirts because you finna be on one. And even though the
you're gonna die,
was an exaggeration, it could take only 5 to 8 hours for them to connect you to God's Wi-Fi. Now the problem with these
that's
snails
pretty
is that they use
fast,
venom to paralyze
yeah.
unlucky prey, and they'll even put them to sleep with a toxin that's 1,000 times more powerful than morphine, which works on fish and stupid people that pick them up. They don't just use one though, like Tyson.
How would you be able to tell them apart though?
Different toxins in their venom, which is why there is no antidote. The only cure is try not to die and become a Snapchat memory.
Your child can visit Steve's jungles, grassy plains, and the dark depths of the ocean.
I should probably explain what the hell this is. That was an angel shark, and that's the worst Call of Duty player you'll ever meet.
That's a vacuum.
Shark will lie motionless for days, waiting for anything bite-sized to accidentally pass above its head so it can take its life. Sounds like
for days.
There's no referee in the ocean, so this camel shark stab pads kills like no other.
Sharks are insane, though. Yeah.
Because they're only interested in fish, crustaceans, and mollusks like squid. That being said, angel sharks are a lot like electrical power sockets. They're only dangerous if you're stupid enough to poke them. Now, you would think that's common sense, but because these sharks stay perfectly still, scuba divers think it's a good idea to touch them, and that makes these sharks go from mannequin challenge to homicide. Luckily, attacks are rare, and as long as you're not an idiot, this sea carpet won't fade you. Good thing, too.
Thank God for that.
There's a shark in this picture, and he may not be an angel, but he'll turn you into one. 8 reasons why this is your new favorite fish. Even though they can be up to 23 feet over 3,000 pounds, they're 100% perfectly harmless to people because they only ever eat plankton and small shrimp. Unlike stingrays, they're not venomous. This giant placemat could hurt you if they wanted to. They're smart enough to understand mirrors because manta rays were seen waving and blowing bubbles at their own reflection, something they wouldn't do if they thought it was another manta ray. Manta rays will launch themselves out of the ocean.
Oh, the mirror test.
Get rid of parasites or to avoid predators. Yeah. But sometimes it seems like they do it just for fun. They have the largest brain of any fish, making them arguably the smartest.
Just chilling with the boys.
Belong on a list with Cosby. That isn't a TV guide. Baby manta rays are called pups, and the mother will give birth to 1 or 2 pups every year. They're normally black, a dark brown, or a grayish blue, but there are pink manta rays out there, and no, this is not edited. This pink manta ray
that thing is just majestic,
on the Great Barrier Reef, proving that country is both a national treasure and Satan's jungle gym.
Of course, it's only in Australia, so no one's gonna see it.
And they're smart enough to ask for help. One repeatedly approached the diver until he realized that she had a fish hook stuck under her eye, and she waited patiently as he removed it. Once he removed it, she swam off. What would happen if you took one of the meanest animals in the ocean and gave it legs? Well, 2 things. 1, you'd have one of the most violently aggressive animals on Earth walking on land, and 2, I know this because it technically happened and they exist. It's a known fact that the biggest menace to society in the ocean are dolphins of any kind. They jump sharks for no reason, slap off their babies, and they have a rap sheet longer than Drake's. And the worst dolphin of all actively tortures other animals for sport. Dolphins and whales are part of a group called cetaceans, which basically happened because this guy decided he wanted to test his luck out in the ocean and evolved to become semi-aquatic and then fully aquatic. But funny story, there was a group of these land animals that actually stayed on land, and about 54 million years ago they split up, with the animals that would become whales and dolphins heading out to sea. The ones that didn't follow them out into the ocean stayed on land, and after millions of years of plot development, they went on to become one of the most vicious animals in the world. In case I haven't made it obvious, I'm talking about hippos. The African homicide horse is actually the closest living relative of whales and dolphins. One's a bipolar tank with Roy Ridge and a devil's overbite, and the other's a pufferfish abusing, shark assaulting sea quagmire, and that is f***ing evolution. You remember that dolphin sound effect from SpongeBob that was supposed to be like a sensor? You know what the I'm talking about. Well, that sound didn't actually come from a dolphin. It was actually the sped up laughter of the kookaburra.
Oh, really?
It's a kingfisher bird found in Australia that sounds like a guy trying way too hard to laugh at a cute girl's jokes.
Oh yeah, it does.
You may not be able to hear it, but when you double the playback speed, you can hear the sound that cartoons made you swear was a dolphin.
Just speeding it up? Yeah.
Moral of this video, every dolphin sound effect you've ever heard on every TV show is really just an Australian crack tweetie.
Oh, that was a fun video. Pretty short, but very jam-packed, so very efficient. First, before I say anything, make sure to go over to his channel, like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that. He definitely deserves it. All the links are going to be down in the description right below. And if you like this video, maybe do the same for me. I'll surely appreciate it. Now, to just talk a bit about the groups of animals that were talked about. Of course, we got access to some of them, not all, of course. As he said, a couple of them were just endemic, apparently only to Australia, meaning they only exist there. But a lot of aquatic wildlife kind of like has access to everywhere, so it exists everywhere, just maybe further from humanity and land. Whales and dolphins, I have seen. Sharks, thankfully not really curious to find out either. Yet like the habitable percentage of Earth for great white shark is like 50% of this planet, so you know there's always a good chance you're gonna meet it, and it's never zero. There are lots of whales, sharks, manta rays even. Iran also has some endemic aquatic life, but they're not the ones that have access to sea. They're just in bodies of water inland. One of the endemic ones are, well, I can't say the Latin name, but it's called, I think, the cave fish or the blind cave fish, which is kind of neat because these fish evolved so far from light in cave systems that they evolved even without eyes. So they kind of look morbid, but they're actually completely harmless and pretty small, so not really intimidating, just maybe not fun to look at either. I know we have seals in the north of Iran in the Caspian Sea, some also very valuable fish, sadly, which makes them kind of go over to the endangered area of animals. Like the Caspian Sea, just FYI, has one of the best fish for making caviar, technically known as like the best caviar of the world, so they always have to be around for looking for poachers and all that. Also knew about the whale vomit being used as in like perfumes and all that, but yeah, they're used in like the aromatics of it, and for the longest time we had no substitution for it till we could synthesize something that did its job basically. But even now some of the perfumes still use it, which is insane. And the giant squid needs to stay in hell. Damn, that thing was creepy. Anyway, that's gonna be all for this video. Pretty short one. We'll do more hopefully this week. Thanks to Tim for recommending this video. I'm gonna check out more of it. If you have recommendations on which one to look for, maybe put it down in the comments. Or if you want me to see something else entirely, you know what to do. I ranted on enough. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to support the original creator of this video. See you all soon. Like and subscribe.